Hello again, my DIY loving friends. I'm Sarah, and this is Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together, where our goal is always budget-friendly brilliance. Today, we're diving into the magical world of Dollar Tree Tumbling Tower blocks, because you and I both know that we can transform these little blocks into stunning home accents. We're just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up with us. So what are you waiting for? Let's go DIY together. For this DIY, we are using a total of 84 of the brown tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. And to start out, I have 6 rows of 6 blocks that are stacked up side by side. We'll be attaching the 6 rows using some super glue wood glue, also from Dollar Tree. Once I've attached that first row of 6 blocks together, I move on to the next 5 rows of 6 blocks and attach them together the exact same way as I did with the first row. This is leaving me with 6 rows of 6 blocks, as you can see right here. Next, I'm going to attach those 6 rows of 6 blocks to each other, side by side, to form one large rectangular shape made out of 36 blocks. I take 36 more blocks and I'm going to be layering them right on top of the block rectangle that we just made. So now we have a 2-layer thick rectangle shape made out of 72 of these brown blocks, and I give it some time to fully dry. I take 12 more blocks, bringing our total to 84 of the blocks that we've used, and I'm going to make 6 groups of 2 blocks that are sandwiched one on top of another, and I'm going to set those aside to dry. When the glued blocks have dried, I take this Decor Americana black acrylic paint, which I will link for you below, and I start by painting the 6 groups of 2 blocks, giving them 1 coat of paint on all of the sides and on the edges. Then I'm going to move on to my 72 block thick rectangle shape, and I'm painting that with the same 1 coat of black paint, painting both of the sides and all of the edges and the ends with the black paint. Just one coat, and I put them all aside to fully dry. When all that black paint has dried, I grab this sanding sponge and I want to thoroughly sand all the edges, the corners, the fronts, and the backs of the black painted blocks so that lots of that brown finish on the blocks can be seen. And I start by sanding these 6 2-block sets, and I'm sanding them thoroughly. Then I move on to sand that large 2-layer rectangle shape, really giving it some elbow grease and distressing the crap out of it, for lack of a better word. I just really want to see the wood beneath the black so that this piece will have 2 tones. I was actually hoping for more of the brown color to come through, but a lot of that was sanded off too, leaving a lot of the lighter natural wood showing through. So I had to fix those really light colored spots to ultimately get the colors that I was going for. And you can see the end result did give me that brown and black distressed look, but it did look too light and over sanded in some of the areas. So to bring back some more brown onto those light spots, I grabbed some Folk Art antique wax that I had diluted with water to thin it out, and I painted the wax and water mixture over those light spots just to deepen and darken the color down a little bit, giving me the black and brown 2-tone effect that I originally wanted. Once the antique wax was dry, I turned my rectangle over, and on the bottom side, I'm using some E6000 glue because I want this to be really strong. I'm attaching my 6 2-block sets to the bottom to use as legs, and I space them evenly onto the bottom of the rectangle and then let the glue dry for several hours before continuing. When the E6000 dried, I have this Rust-Oleum Gloss Lacquer Spray, which I'll link for you below, and I took the piece outside and sprayed it, then let it dry for about an hour. And yes, it did make the piece glossy, but I wanted even more gloss on the top. So I am using this Mod Podge Dimensional Magic, which I will link for you below. I've used this before for jewelry projects. It's like a puff paint, but it's totally clear and glossy. So it gives a ton of shine and dimension to the project. Kind of like a resin, but easier to use. It's cloudy when you apply it. I know it looks blue on the video for some reason, but it's actually a white cloudy look that will be crystal clear when it dries. And this is how you apply it, like painting on little puffy bubbles on top of each block. It's a little time consuming, but very easy to work with, and it takes about 3 hours for it to fully dry. And this is my absolutely gorgeous two-tone ultra shiny wood riser. There is so much about this that I love. The blocks with their three-dimensional gloss look almost like ceramic tile. Plus, the brown and black tones are really giving me a tortoiseshell or like alligator kind of vibe. I don't know if you can see that too, but the whole piece is giving a really high-end and maybe slightly Asian decor vibe. It's just stunning as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, this for me is one of those projects that so far exceeded my expectations that it makes up for every DIY fail I've ever had so far. This brown tumbling tower block DIY is a classic. For this DIY, we will be using a grand total of 90 of the natural color tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree for this project, as well as the super glue wood glue also from Dollar Tree. And we begin by making 9 sets of 3 blocks that are all attached side by side, as you can see right here. And I'm wiping away any excess glue as I go along so it won't mess up our stain later on. Once I have my 9 sets of 3 blocks, I'm going to attach them together in a 3x3 square. That's 3 rows of 3. And I alternate the direction that the blocks are going with each set. Again, I'm wiping away any excess glue from the surface of the blocks before it dries. And when that is complete, I'm going to repeat that whole thing all over again to create another identical 3x3 square using 9 more sets of 3. Then I make a third piece, but this one is going to be made of 12 of those groups of 3 blocks instead of 9. So it'll be a rectangular shape that is 4x3 instead of a square. We want this third one to be longer than the other 2, and with that, we have used a total of 90 of these tumbling tower blocks. And here are my 3 main pieces, the 2 3x3 squares and the 3x4 rectangle. And to assemble this project, I'm going to start by gluing one of the squares to the top of one side of the rectangle, as you can see me doing right here. And that's going to be followed by the second square on the other side of the rectangle. And I put something behind both sides to support them while that glue is setting up. I had these 4 small wood beads in my stash, kind of like the kind that you can get at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue them onto the 4 bottom corners of the project just to give it a little lift. I also decided to reinforce the underside of the project, so I grabbed 2 wood craft sticks from Dollar Tree and I glued them across the 2 seams on the bottom just to give a tiny bit of added support. I decided to stain the whole project using this Varathane wood stain in the color Golden Oak, which I will link for you below. And I ended up using some tiny little makeup brushes to apply the stain because for the life of me, I could not find a foam brush anywhere in my house, which is so weird because I always have some lying around. But anyway, I had to make it work. So I stained the entire piece, the underneath, as well as all the sides, edges, and the little wood bead feet with the Golden Oak, using a dry paper towel to rub the excess stain off, and then give the whole piece several hours for that stain to fully dry. And this is my tumbling tower block plant stand or large candle holder or cubby shelf, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty strong and functional, and I kind of like the pattern of the blocks and the stain color together. And sure, It might look like someone's parquet flooring, but that's okay. I like its rustic charm and patchwork-like feel. For this DIY, I'm using a pack of 6 wood squares from Dollar Tree, plus 64 of these small 1-inch wood rounds I got on Amazon, and I will link them for you below. I'll also be using the bottom of this wood box that comes with a wood lid from Dollar Tree. I'm using this Varathane wood stain in the color Early American, which I will link for you below. And to begin with, I'm going to be staining all 6 of the wood squares. And as you can see, I did find myself some foam brushes, thankfully. I stain all 6 of the squares on both sides, as well as all of their edges. I'm also going to stain all 64 of the wood rounds using the Early American stain as well. I stained both sides of the wood rounds, even though technically I really only needed one side stained. I wanted the box bottom to be a base for my project, and I needed to paint it white first as a base coat because eventually I wanted it to be gold. So it needed a base coat. I'm using this Apple Barrel white paint. I think it's white matte, and I will link it for you below, but this wood is thirsty, and it did take like 2 to 3 coats to get full coverage. I'm using Starbond Super Glue Gel, which I will link for you below because I need immediate hold to attach my 6 sides, my 6 squares together to make a cube. So we're going to start by attaching one wall to, one square to another square to make a wall. And from there, we're going to just keep adding in our squares until we've achieved a closed cube. I got this gold paint pen on Amazon. I'll link it for you below, but you can find some gold paint pens at Dollar Tree. I had this brilliant idea that I wanted to accent all of my little wood rounds, so I just painted the edge gold with the marker. I mean, in theory, it seemed easy. It was time consuming. There are 64 wood rounds, but I did them all, and it is a little bit of a subtle accent, but I did want them to be accented gold. And as I said, I wanted that base to be gold as well. I got this gold acrylic paint on Amazon. I will link it, but I can't really recommend it. Look at it. I mean, it's not going on very well. It's not good coverage. I had to do like 4 different coats, and afterwards it was like really bright. It's a really bright gold. I don't know. It just wasn't a good thing. I gave it a try. You'll see what happens next. I wanted to attach my wood rounds to 4 sides of my cube, so I am assembling them like rows of 4, 4 rows of 4, 16 on each of the 4 sides of the cube. I'm using hot glue to attach them, and really it was very simple. I just, followed along so that everything fit. And then like I said, I did all 4 sides of the cube, and the top and the bottom I left blank. And at the last minute, I decided I needed more gold accent, so I used this Rust-Oleum Bright Shiny Gold on 64 of these wood half rounds, sprayed them, and then I just hot glued one to the center of all 64 of my little wood rounds. And by the way, I also used the Rust-Oleum Bright Shiny Gold to paint over that ugly gold on the wood box base that I had. So you'll see that in a minute. So there's my newly spray painted gold box base, and I marked on the cube where to put the box base so that it was centered in the middle. And I used some hot glue and attached the base to the bottom of my cube. And this is my interesting wood sculpture, maybe, or it could also be a plant stand or a candle stand. And honestly, if you leave the top of the cube open, it could also easily be a planter. I kind of like the modern look. It's a little artsy. I do like the combination of the gold and the darker wood tone. That's always been a favorite combo of mine, but you will have to let me know what you think. And there you have it, my DIY loving friends. Stunning home accents made with Dollar Tree Tumbling Tower blocks. Who would have thought it could be this easy and fun? If you enjoyed crafting with me today, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know which project was your favorite in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Medicated Housewife DIY for even more DIY adventure. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember that together we're making the world a more beautiful place, one DIY at a time.